Hey YouTube, how's your day going? Good? Bad? So-so? I hope it's going well. And if not, I don't know. Best of luck with that. You can make it through the day. I'm sure you can. I've got my little like unnamed cat pillow thing as my cushion. And I've got a topic that I want to talk about today. So let's jump in. A few months ago, back in December, I decided that I wanted to give up drinking temporarily. So I am doing, I think I've mentioned this in an old video way back, but I'm doing this program called Wanikani. It's really cool, I love it. It's how I'm learning kanji, how I'm learning like the Chinese characters for Japanese, and it's been one of my most valuable Japanese learning resources. Anyway, it involves a lot of memory because you're learning a lot and there's a lot of content, but it involves a lot of like a spaced repetition system, SRS. That's kind of like the focus of the whole point of the system, is that you review items on a certain kind of schedule, like just when you're about to remember them. And so because progress has been kind of slow for me for that, I was thinking like, how can I just finish this program? Because I've been doing it for like years now, and you can finish it in about a year. And I'm coming up on 3 years. So I was like, when I'm hungover, I can't do reviews. I can't review. I can't retain information. And when I'm drunk, I definitely can't do anything. So I was like thinking, why don't I just cut out alcohol for a while? I have done it in the past. So I was in Australia back in 2017, and I went more or less sober for 4 or 5 months, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't really miss alcohol too much. So I thought I'd give it a go, and now it's February 19th, the day that I'm making this video, and yeah, I'm feeling good. So what has this meant for me? Because as I'm sure wherever you're from, alcohol plays some role in your life, whether you personally consume it or whether you know people who consume it. Alcohol is probably around and probably pretty normal. And in Japan, drinking culture is, if you live in Japan, if you've heard anything about Japan, drinking culture is pretty intense and pretty closely related to work. So how has that looked for me, and how has that looked for the world around me in the last few months? Let's jump in with the initial reactions that people have had to this, because it comes up in conversation because I'm in situations where alcohol comes up every so often. And so the response has been, largely positive from everyone who I've talked to about it. I think something that makes it maybe easier for people to digest is that I say it's temporary, because when I finish this Wanikani program, so in a few more months, I probably will go back to drinking alcohol. Maybe not as much as I used to drink, but I will go back probably. And it's for a purpose, it's for a reason. Like a very specific reason, not just like, oh, I want to be healthier, oh, I want to, do whatever. I want to be a better person, because I think it almost gets the same reaction that I think vegans get, where by saying that you don't do something that is so normal and so common, it kind of feels like to the listener like you're making a value judgment. And so it can kind of be a bit threatening when you say like, I don't drink alcohol, because it's like, well, like, are you an addict? Like, what's wrong with you? Or if you say, no, nothing's wrong, I'm fine, I'm just not drinking alcohol, then the response can kind of feel like, oh, so are you saying because I do drink alcohol, you're better than me? Like, I think people can kind of get that value judgment confused up in there. But this is definitely not a value judgment, because I do drink. I just am currently not drinking. However, there have been a lot of unintended benefits that have come about. So like I said, I am doing this originally so I can help my memory, so I can finish this kanji learning program a little bit faster. But when you don't drink, your body feels better. Like Saturday and Sunday mornings, I feel so much better. I get better sleep on the weekends, and I generally am just feeling healthier. And these are some benefits that I don't really want to give up when I finish this program. I don't really want to go back to hangovers and stuff. I'm also 29, which is, I read a study years ago, 29 is scientifically the worst year for hangovers of your entire life. So I don't know how true that is, but it's something that has been kind of on my mind since I turned 29. And yeah, so I'm not sure exactly I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna go back into drinking. I don't think I'm gonna have anything like a big crazy like bender when I start drinking again, but I enjoy the taste of drinks. And so like when I say I've been sober, I don't mean I've been completely bone dry sober. So I've had like, I don't know, a few sips of people's drinks in this time. But I haven't had like, I don't know, I haven't even had half a drink. I haven't even had a quarter of a drink. I've just had little sips. I like the taste of beer. I like craft beers. And so I've had a couple of sips of people's beers. And one time at a party, a friend of mine had this like weird, this weird German liqueur that tasted like cake batter with vodka in it, which sounds kind of gross, but like I like cake batter, so I was like, you know what, I want to try this because people were talking about how it tasted like cake. So I had a sip, and I'm not gonna limit my enjoyment of my life because I do enjoy alcohol. So I'm definitely refiguring out my relationship with alcohol and how much I need to enjoy it and to feel good. Yeah. So that's kind of the personal stuff. So how has this been affecting me in Japan? I am doing this almost a year and a half into my time in Japan. So I've established a lot of my relationships with my coworkers. I've made friendships with non-coworkers. People know who I am. So because I'm doing this now, I think people are willing to accept it instantly or quickly as something that I'm doing for self-improvement and for growth, whatever. I think if I came into the country like this, I think my relationships would look a little different. I think certain people might, you know, treat me a little differently or see me as a little bit different because when I first got here, the first time I went to a work party, like a work enkai, people were asking me, "Oh, Jonathan, do you drink alcohol? Do you like alcohol?" And I was like, "Yeah, I love beer. I love wine. I like gin, and I love nihonshu. I love like sake." And people go crazy when, to put a generalization, Japanese people go crazy when you say that you like Japanese alcohol. Which I guess is true of any nationality, but I'm in Japan now, so that's where I'm hearing it. Yeah, so because people have already kind of formed their impressions of me and formed their ideas of me, because I'm doing this now, it doesn't change my core identity, I think, in people's minds, the way that it would if I had come in saying, I don't drink alcohol, and then maybe one day started drinking alcohol, because I think that can really mess with people's perceptions of you. Not that I'm putting too much weight into what people think of me, but it's just something that I'm conscious of. And I think it would be a bit more difficult in terms of people inviting me out to things or people knowing how to engage with me when we're at bars and stuff. Because, you know, if someone says they're sober and they don't give a whole lot more context, if someone told me that, I'd be a little bit more cautious of like how much I'm drinking or how much I'm talking about alcohol around them, versus I think in my current position, because the way I've done it, people don't have that same like hesitation or reluctance to drink in front of me because it doesn't bother me. So let's keep talking about work now. As I mentioned before, work culture and drinking culture are pretty closely connected in Japan. There is a lot of post-work socialization that revolves around alcohol, and even in my schools, I'm at a junior high and elementary school, alcohol factors into pretty much any workplace gathering outside of work. So because of that, there have been a couple enkais, like work parties, that I haven't gone to, and there's one coming up that I'm not going to, because for a couple of reasons. So first of all, when you go to an enkai, when you go to a work event, everyone pays a flat rate, and that usually gets you like a course meal and all you can drink for a certain amount of time. And when you're not drinking alcohol, a lot of those course meals become not worth it, because like, yeah, you can drink all the tea and ginger ale you want, and I do, but the food is generally like, it's okay. It's not the best food. I've never really walked away from one of those enkais thinking like, oh man, I just had an amazing meal. So you generally get your money's worth from the drinking, and so like, I'm not drinking alcohol, so it's not really worth my money. I also find that, you know, when people get drunk, when people get a little silly, they can ask questions, and just anticipating. I've had a lot of positive reactions when people are sober. I want to avoid peer pressure before it comes, if that makes sense. Not that I feel necessarily peer pressure for my coworkers to drink, because I'm secure with my identity, but it's like, it's going well. I don't want to push the boundaries that I've set. Yeah. That said, there is going to be one in about a month that I am planning on going to, because it's the end of the year. It's like one of the biggest NKIs of the year, and I don't want to miss it. And there are some teachers who I'm thinking will be leaving the school next year, so I want to have one last hangout with them, and I'll feel secure. I'll be fine. I can do it once or twice, but when it's a lot of them in a row is when it can kind of start to wear down on you a little bit, getting the same kinds of questions. And lastly, social scene. So, I mean, when I'm hanging out with just a couple of friends, then, I mean, whatever is normal, they're understanding. But hanging out in the Jet community is a little bit different than just hanging out with a couple close friends. So, the Jet community, alcohol plays a big part in Jet life as well. It's a common thread between all of us, because people who are on the Jet program tend to come from a lot of different backgrounds and a lot of different places. So alcohol is a really easy, like, social instigator. However, I'm like #Saga blessed, because I am in a small prefecture where there aren't a ton of Jets, and so I think that kind of forces people to chill out a little bit, because you kind of have to get along with most people. At least get along, at least put up with most people to be part of the social network here. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, I'm saying that actually as a good thing, because it really does force people to kind of like be polite and be pleasant and be courteous with each other. And I think one part of that, how it's working out in my favor, is for the people who don't drink, it definitely is a minority, but I'm not the only one who isn't drinking or who doesn't drink. But I think, you know, because there's only 45 of us or so, if you want to hang out with people who are only drinking, that really, I mean, that limits their pool even more than it already does. So I think people are kind of forced to all get along to a certain extent. I also have some good friends in the Saga Jet community, so I really appreciate them. I've only had 1 or 2 cases, both in the Saga community and in my coworker community or in the Japanese community, where someone has actually pushed back and really been like, what? Like, why are you going so extreme? Like, why don't you just have 1 drink? And I kind of explain it as like, if I have 1 drink, it's gonna be like, why don't I just have 1 more drink? And then it's a slippery slope. I'm not gonna say when I've consumed 500 milliliters of beer, that's when I'm done, because like it's too much of a hassle to think about that, and I enjoy the side effects of not drinking. And that wraps up my video on sobriety in Japan. To give it a quick like TLDR version, I would say it's going well for me because I didn't start sober, and because I'm not going to stay sober forever, and because I'm not strict on what sober means. So there's a lot of caveats in there, but I'm having a positive experience of it. If you are having an experience of sobriety in Japan, or you are curious about it, feel free to comment. Let's start a conversation about this. I love starting conversations and getting to know what people are doing with their lives. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next video. I think I can do about 1 a month. A nice monthly pace is okay for me, because I really enjoy doing kind of deeper dives into one topic rather than just doing weekly updates about what's going on. I have some more Kit Kats. I didn't really think of a good way to fit them into this video, but maybe in a future video. If you're not following me on Instagram, follow me at JonaPanstagram. That's where my more like daily and regular kind of content is going up. And I think that's it. So peace, love, and happiness. Wish you all the best on your good or maybe not good day. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.